And we are rolling.
Hey, what's up, everybody?
What's going on? It's another movie talk edition of Distorted Minds podcast. Coming at ya.
Sorry about the wait. I'm a scumbag. It's my fault.
I know we skipped. We didn't do anything last week for the pod. Are your headphones fucking up? Sorry.
No, I'm straight, homie.
Okay. So yeah, today we're here to talk about the Meyerowitz Stories and
Seven Psychopaths.
Yeah, Seven Psychopaths. Interesting movies. And before that, we'll do a little snapshot like always, and we'll kick into the tunes.
I don't know. Yeah.
So yeah, let's say we talk some movies.
Yeah, let's talk some movies.
Did you watch anything else? Oh, real quick. Someone commented on our Florida Project one that we did, and they said that they're gonna watch the movies. So we convinced somebody to watch both of those movies.
Hell yeah, that's awesome.
I know,
man.
That feels good.
I know, man. I definitely I want to start really making time so we can at least do it every other week.
Yeah,
because I miss doing it, man. I was just like, fuck, I'm so busy. But I'll jump. I only really watched 3 other movies that are worth mentioning.
You want to take turns?
Sure. So the first one I watched was Uncut Gems.
Okay.
So I finally bit the bullet and watched it. I'm gonna be honest. I didn't really like the movie very much.
Really?
I mean, I thought it was a interesting story, and I think the way it played with tension was noteworthy. It's such a tense movie. It's you never feel like you get a break. You feel like you're always almost out of breath watching the movie. It's very, but I just felt like Adam Sandler's character in that movie was just such an irredeemable piece of shit, man.
Yeah,
he's just so unlikable. And I mean, I kind of understood that was kind of the point of his character, but
right.
He just never has a moment where he has that epiphany where all the bad shit in his life is his fault. You know what I mean? He just keeps this. He never has that. Oh shit! Okay, he doesn't ever has that redemption moment. The movie just kind of plays out until its conclusion, and he's kind of even though. All right, spoiler alert if you haven't watched this movie.
Spoiler alert.
So even though he gets killed, he's still kind of rewarded for his bullshit because I mean he makes all that fucking money doing this thing that has him in this terrible situation throughout the entire course of the movie. I mean I think the only good characters in the movie were his girlfriend who actually has his best interests at heart, even though she
See, I've seen it once, and I don't quite remember exactly what all happens, but yeah, it's been a while.
I kind of I felt almost people hyped it up a little too much for me, and I had higher expectations because of the hype, so I was a little I just didn't enjoy it as much as people were saying I mean he's great. It's a great performance from him, but I just couldn't gel with the character, man. I was I did when he gets killed at the end. I was I don't even feel bad. I was yeah, it's kind of this is kind of where the only conclusion that could have happened, in all the stuff he was doing.
Is that still on Netflix?
Yep.
Okay, yeah.
Oh no, it's not. They actually finally pulled it. I had to rent it off of Amazon Prime.
All right. That was one you were going to pick too, huh?
Yeah, and I finally broke down and watched it. And I'm kind of glad I didn't pick it because I didn't feel like it would have been good to pick it apart because I feel like I just would have shit on the movie. Like,
Sure. Sandler, man. Let's see. I watched Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio.
Oh yeah,
It was all right.
I tried to watch it and I fell asleep.
It was kind of weird, like, because it's like Nazi-controlled Germany or not Germany. Where are they at? Italy?
Oh, it's like kind of like takes place during World War II during the occupation.
Yeah,
I got you.
Which was a weird, and I thought the characters looked kind of weird, like the human characters. I don't know. But it was fine, I guess. What else you got?
So I watched the Weird Al Yankovic movie.
Yeah, dude. What do you think?
It was funny. It was just like, it got to the point where I realized that it wasn't like actually like a biography. It was more like a parody of a biography.
Right, yeah.
And I think once I realized that, I think I need to go back and watch it again. Because like the last half, I like really didn't like the movie because it just got progressively more and more ridiculous. But then when I kind of realized it was just a fucking parody, I was like, Weird Al never fucking dated Madonna. Like, what is going on in this movie? And then when I realized he's just kind of making fun of himself, I'm like, all right,
making fun of biopics.
Yeah. I was like, all right, I need to like go back and give this another chance because like Daniel Radcliffe was genuinely pretty hilarious in that movie. I was just like, I love everything that kid does, man. It's gold.
My Bologna.
He's so funny in that movie, man.
And then you got like Jack Black in there, and like just all these little Conan O'Brien and fucking all them people just show up briefly. It's fun.
Yeah. Well, if you can make fun of songs, then just I'm gonna pick a song and you make fun of it. Let's see how
Make one up right now.
Make one right now on the spot.
Yeah.
Another one rides the bus.
Yeah. Hey, I'm gonna sit by you. Another one rides the bus. Yeah, it's fun. See, my next one was Birdman.
Love that.
Fucking Michael Keaton. Yeah.
Oh, he's so good.
Movie
man.
is fucking bananas, bro.
Yeah.
It's so fucking wild and.
It's definitely like explores like mental health and like that's like the not getting help with your mental health issues for sure.
Yeah, and what the fuck is his face? Who's the other guy in there? I can't think of his name right now.
I forget who. I know Emma Stone's in that movie.
Oh yeah,
she plays his daughter. Yeah. I always Hollywood crush, man.
Right.
But I kind of also like how it plays with the insanity of fame too, like, and it's kind of weird because it is also kind of almost like it's like a side by side of Michael Keaton's career in real life, like him playing Batman and getting super famous, and then him like not being a popular draw, but then him like later in life having like a big revitalization of his career.
Yeah, Edward Norton, who I was thinking of.
Yeah, he's a man.
He's crazy. He's trying to have like sex with that chick on stage and shit, like real.
Well, what's funny is he's so good at playing like those slime ball characters, man.
It really is.
Like in Rounders when he plays Worm, like yeah.
Oh yeah, I've seen that.
Yup.
You got any more?
I do. So I saw that new M. Night Shyamalan movie.
Oh, The Knock at the Cabin?
Yeah, it's funny because, like, the three movies I just kind of watched on my volition, I didn't like all that much. I was like, Knock at the Cabin is kind of like, it's really kind of like almost like a religious movie. It's sorry.
I've seen previews for it.
It's about the end of the world. I will say, Dave Bautista is actually phenomenal in that movie.
That guy looks like he's gonna explode, man. He's like, he's just so huge.
Yeah, he's on just naturally just such a big dude, man. I mean, he's like 6'3" in real life. He's just a monster of a human being. But it's so interesting because he plays a school teacher in that movie. So it's like he is very convincing in like he's this person who feels he has to do these terrible things to save the world, but it obviously doesn't sit well with him because he knows it's not right. But he's like this. I have to do this, otherwise the world's gonna end. So it was an interesting movie and an interesting take on like in the world movies, but I don't think it was done very well. I don't like the ultimate conclusion of the movie.
I don't know, like I don't know. I don't really get into Shyamalan.
Yeah. He's got a couple.
What's his best one? Would you say?
I would say it's hands down. It's got to be The Sixth Sense. Like,
see, I don't think I've ever seen that. I've seen Signs.
Yeah, Signs is whack, honestly. I'll give you his best three movies. So his best three movies are The Sixth Sense with Bruce Willis. It's his best twist ending. And then Unbreakable, also with Bruce Willis, is, I would say, his second best movie.
Never seen it.
And then he's got this movie called Split. It's got James McAvoy. And James McAvoy is fucking incredible in that movie. Split if you haven't seen Split's an amazing movie because he literally he's supposed to have like 20 different split personalities, and he like genuinely like plays like 20 different characters in that movie. It's pretty interesting.
It's gotta be fun as an actor.
Yeah, and you can tell it because he like breathes so much life into each performance.
Hell yeah. Well, I got a bunch. I better run through them. Manchester by the Sea. Ever heard of it? I heard about it on a podcast, and it kind of got spoiled for me from that podcast, but I still really enjoyed it. It's like heavy drama, heavy.
That shit you like, yeah.
Shit, yeah. It's fucking pretty crazy. What's his name? Casey Affleck and some other people. Anyways, I watched Almost Famous.
That's great.
That movie fucking rules, dude.
That's such a great movie. I mean, it's so quotable too. Like
I don't. It's got Jason Lee and fucking.
Like, I am a golden god.
Yeah.
And I'm high on drugs.
Yeah, he's like, I never said that when he finally writes the article.
Yeah.
Yeah. Classic movie.
The kid that plays the reporter in that movie is in a movie that you might like. It's called Risk Cutters: A Love Story. It's about people that commit suicide and the place that they go. But I think you might dig it, man. I think it's weird enough. You might. I think I know what movie I'm gonna pick next time.
Have you ever heard of Downsizing? That movie with Matt Damon?
Yeah.
Have you seen it?
No, I just like the concept of it. I just kind of couldn't get into. I thought it was a little weird.
I thought the concept was kind of interesting. Like, the premise was interesting. People just shrink down to a smaller human so they don't create as much waste and,
Sure.
everything's...
It's like more environmental friendly, yeah.
Your money goes farther and shit like that. But I felt like it could have been done better, but I didn't hate it. But it's an interesting concept. Then I watched the documentary Blackfish. Have you seen this? It's about, SeaWorld and the whales and killer whales and shit. It's bananas, bro. How they treat these whales and just heartbreaking. Then
I've heard not good things about SeaWorld and how they treat their stars, I quotes like.
Yeah, Shamu. Then I watched. Are you Woody Allen guy? You ever fuck with his movies?
I think I've seen a couple of them. But not really. They're not my deal.
Yeah, me neither, really. There's a couple that are okay that I liked, but this one was called Everything You Always Wanted to Know About Sex, But Were Afraid to Ask. And it's basically like, it's like skits, basically. There's a bunch of skits strung together.
Got you.
But the best one was the last one, and it was like, it was like a bunch of humans in a body that are operating the body. There's some in the brain, some in like the dick, and some in like Woody Allen is like a sperm and shit, and it's just them trying to get laid, just doing all these things, and like Burt Reynolds was in that one, and That was the best one. That was the funniest one. Little Miss Sunshine, seen it? Very good movie.
I'm familiar with the title. I don't know if I've ever actually seen the movie.
It's this little girl who's trying to win a pageant or something. It's got like Steve Carell, Greg Kinnear, Paul Dano. It's pretty good, man. It's like a dramedy shit. That shit I like. A couple more. Crazy Heart with Jeff Bridges, where he's a country music singer. It's a pretty good movie.
I've never seen it, but I've only heard good things about that movie.
Yeah, it's really good. The last one was White Noise. That's that newer one with Adam Driver. Have you seen it on Netflix? Like, he looks weird in it. He looks a little off.
The only White Noise movie I'm familiar is the Michael Keaton one, where it's like he's picking up like ghosts on like sound. Is it the White Noise movie on Netflix? Anything like that, or?
I don't know that one. But the thing that was interesting about this movie is that it's about a train derailment and a train hauling toxic chemicals that gets derailed, and there's an airborne toxic event in Ohio. The shit that's happening in real life today.
Oh shit! Okay.
So, and this came out just like last year, so it's weird how specifically
accurate, right?
Yeah. Dude.
What do they know that they aren't telling us?
Dude,
yeah.
I didn't really like the movie, but I just had to watch it because of that coincidence. I heard about it like on TikTok, and I was like, "Fuck, dude, that's fucking wild."
Yeah, that's crazy, man.
But anyways, let's get into these movies.
Yeah,
that we're deep diving in on today.
I know. What one you want to talk about first, man? I'm gonna let you pick this time.
Well, I got Meyerowitz Stories right here.
Okay, well, I'm fine with that.
Cool. 2017 dramedy movie. Director Noah Baumbach, who did, I've seen some of his movies. Marriage Story, The Squid and the Whale, While We're Young. Wait, didn't he do? I think he did that White Noise too. White Noise movie. Yeah, that was him too. Yeah, I didn't find no taglines for this movie either. But yeah, stars Adam Sandler, Dustin Hoffman, Ben Stiller. I don't know the sister's name.
Yeah, I don't know the honestly, I didn't recognize any of the female actresses in this movie.
Yeah, like the mom or the stepmom or whatever.
Yeah, I will say I enjoy the movie. But man, did I hate Dustin Hoffman's character.
I know. He's such a difficult guy, man.
Yeah,
you know?
well, he's just so pompous too. Like he's kind of the archetype for a narcissistic parent, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that I felt that at the end where he was like, "Oh yeah, I need you to stay with me." But then on Saturday, my buddy that you like is going to come over, but you can't be here. Like, he's like, "You're going to have to fuck off. Like, you're not allowed to hang out with us because basically you're not good enough." It was just like, I was like, man, it hit a little close to home because like that's kind of, you know, my stepdad was a real piece of shit too, and that's kind of like a lot of like the narcissism and shit that Dustin Hoffman's character was saying. Like, really kind of reminded me of being around my stepdad. I'm just like, you're just so unlikable.
I know,
you're just so up your own ass about yourself. Like, and that was the thing too, is like his sculptures and stuff. I was just like, no, they're not that good. I was like, you're just kind of a pretentious prick, man. Like,
yeah.
You're like, essentially, you're one of those art teachers whose work isn't very good, but you're really. It seemed like he's very good at explaining work. And, like, getting students invested in making artwork. That is kind of, like, what I took away about his character. So that was kind of, like, it seemed like more, like, the positive side of that people that actually liked Harold Meyerowitz in that movie didn't really know the real Harold. It was more, like, outside interactions with him, like, at school or work or, I don't think he ever had like an honest conversation with his buddy LJ, because he was constantly shitting on him behind his back, because he was so jealous of his success.
Right. Yeah. So, all right, we got a 93 tomato score. Pretty good, huh? 72 audience. And honestly, this is the second time watching this movie, and while I'm watching it, I don't know really why I picked it. I don't really know why. I mean, I like the movie, but it's not like a go-to for me.
Yeah, and I was gonna say, it's like a movie I'm glad I watched. Like, it's not a bad movie. It's a good movie. I think it has a very interesting family dynamic that people can relate to.
Yeah,
and I think that's why it has such a positive reception, because it's like, there's a lot of fucked up families like that. There's a lot of dysfunction in families, even when you like each other.
Yeah.
Like, even when you care for each other, there's family is just, it's not perfect. It's messy. And that's the part that I like the most about it, is like, it was real. But then, like, the parts I didn't like was just like I was saying, like, Harold really kind of reminded me of my stepdad in a lot of ways, and I fucking hated his guts in this movie, man. Like, Dustin Hoffman, I was just like, man, there's so many scenes where I just kind of want to punch him right in the face.
And so does his sons, you know what I mean?
But thinking about it, like, it's just like, that is like fantastic acting. Anytime you can invest your audience enough to make them actually dislike your character that much,
like, that means you're doing your job.
Yeah, he's like, you really like owning that character.
Yeah. So yeah, basically, it's a Jewish family, and what Adam Sandler was like moving back in with his dad at the beginning.
Yeah, because he was getting a divorce. Yeah, going through like a messy divorce.
And then Ben Stiller lives like on the West Coast or whatever.
Yep, he lives in L.A. Yeah.
Yeah, and they live in New York.
His dad lives in New York. Yes. Yep. I want to say, they were specific about it. I think if you track down the college, I think it would be Brooklyn. I think that's where his dad is, and then I didn't really pick up exactly where his sister lived. I think you would have to like know the city a little bit better, because they mostly just say like street names, and I think they're using like real street names in New York, and I don't like New York enough to know the geography like that. But I think his dad lives in Brooklyn, because I think the art school, and I could be wrong, listeners, if I'm wrong, comment below, tell me I'm wrong, it's fine. But
tell him how fucking stupid he is. No,
yeah, you can do it. I mean, I'll just look at it and think you're an asshole, and I won't say anything. But I think his dad lives in Brooklyn.
Yeah, but so anyways, yeah, he's a sculptor, and like he's got like something going on in his brain, right?
Well, he's a retired professor, but the brain thing is a result of him taking a nasty fall.
Oh yeah,
and then not telling anybody. Right. But that doesn't kind of happen until later in the movie.
That's right. And it's kind of like, at first it seems like Ben Stiller is the favorite because he hasn't, shown up yet, and like Hoffman's telling Sandler like how successful Ben Stiller's doing, and just how proud of him he is, whatever. Just trying to like get under Sandler's skin or whatever.
Yeah, well, it's kind of like one of those things where you can tell that Dustin Hoffman's character Harold invested the most time into Ben Stiller's character Danny.
Danny.
Danny
is Sandler, right?
Oh, you're right. Danny is Sandler.
I forget. Matthew.
Matthew is Stiller's character, and Harold has invested the most time into Matthew, and Harold resents Matthew because he's more successful than he was. But he's also
business.
But he's also disappointed that he didn't pursue art.
Right.
And
Sandler's like a musician, and then
and Matthew also resents Harold for putting all that pressure to succeed where Harold failed, because he wanted him to be an artist like LJ, where he was like a super well-known, wealthy artist instead of just being a corporate shill. But he's still like the only one that he really gets invested into. He really kind of treats his other children like garbage, and like he only really brings really both Danny and I don't remember the daughter's name.
Yeah, me neither.
Sorry. But he only brings them around when he needs stuff, and that's just like, that's type A narcissistic behavior, and it's like, it's a little gross, honestly.
Yeah.
And it's just like, it's like really fucked up too when he's like, he knows his son is going through a divorce, and like a good parent would be like, okay, take your time, get on your feet. But the first thing he says, he's like, okay, so when are you going to figure out what you're going to do? When are you going to get a job and move out? Like, that's I was like, I could see if he was there for months not doing anything, but
Right.
on day one, he says that to him. And then it's just like, or he just, saying to other people what a disappointment his other children are. And it's just like, that's so fucked up, man. And it's just like, yeah, it's like, you were this hotshot art teacher, but that time's over, and like, nobody gives a fuck about your art. It's not even good. Like,
Yeah.
you stroke your, he just constantly likes to stroke his own ego. Like when he meets Sigourney Weaver, he's like, oh, I had this wonderful conversation with her, and all they did was say hello to one another. And I'm just like, dude, how much do you need to pad your own ego? It's
Sigourney Weaver.
yeah, it's kind of like I would compare Harold to Michael Scott in The Office, where he just needs constant affirmation of his like own ego.
Sure.
Because he's such a really shallow and vapid human being. It's like he's well educated, so he's capable of expressing himself in what seems like an intelligent manner, but if you really pay attention to what he's saying, he's really just full of shit. He's just really just a bitter, old, jealous man who never actually succeeded in the way that he wanted.
That John Denver's full of shit, man.
And he really, that pressure, it really spilled out onto his kids. Like, you could really see how it affected them, how he kind of just threw them all kind of to the wayside, except for Matthew. But even then, it's just like, I don't know. It's kind of like that perfect storm of just how fucked up families can be, and like how fucked up your parents can make you.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. So yeah, I wrote down that song that Sandler sings with his daughter at towards the beginning. I thought that was very nice. It's like mommy and daddy and genius girl makes three.
I meant to
a little teary on that.
Yeah, I meant to look up the jingle, because the jingle is definitely taken from another song, and they just kind of just wrote words over it.
Mm-hmm. Maybe.
I don't remember what song it is, but it's so familiar though.
Now, how about Sandler's daughter? She's all making movies of her own, just like these crazy kind of sex movies.
So
Pagina Man.
So what's really funny about her movies
Pagina Man
is it was funny for me because I went to art school, so I was exposed to a lot of stuff like that, and it's real. Like, there is it's called the McKinsey Institute, and it is basically an entire place dedicated to like of this very thin fine line of what makes something art and makes something else pornography. And so his daughter kind of like falls in that line. It really kind of reminded me a lot of the shit from the McKinsey Institute and like their art galleries and stuff, because we had a showing at Heron that had a lot of their stuff in it, and some stuff was like much more tasteful, and then other stuff was, I was just like, oh man, this is basically just pornography. Like,
right.
It's like, it's a very, so that, and that is kind of the funny thing about art, is it's so subjective. So like a lot of artists get away with bullshit like that, where they have a nice aesthetic, and so they attach like a bullshit concept to it. And gallery directors and like people in the art world, that the people that aren't good at actually making art fucking eat that shit up. And once you got them eating in the palm of their hands, you can make up any bullshit you want and sell it as art. And they buy it, yeah, because it's this whole, like art becomes like a status symbol. So it was funny because at the one hand his daughter's almost literally sending him pornography. Yeah. So it's like, but it's also doubly funny because it's a real art world thing, and like there's a lot of people that eat that shit up, and it's like, and it was really funny to me on both those things. And
it's interesting how like they're all so supportive of her too. They're like not put off by it or nothing. Right. They're very supportive about what she wants to do.
I think part of that is it's a duality where Sandler's character is almost too supportive
because he didn't get that from his dad or
something. Exactly. And so I would say that at the very least, Danny is a much better father to his kid than his dad was to him, like by far. Like
probably, yeah. I wrote down that the dialogue is so fast in this movie. Like that conversation that they're having in the diner with Stiller and Hoffman, it just goes off the walls very quickly.
Yeah, well, I think part of it is because Harold is such a stinted person, and he's so stuck in his ways that he honestly he's so bitter he looks for reasons to get upset so he can fly off the handle, because he just has to always have to have something to be upset about.
Yeah, when they like put the wine glass on the table and shit.
He starts drinking out of it. Yeah. And I mean, granted that what those people were doing was rude.
Yeah.
But he was so passive-aggressive about it. He literally could have just been like, hey, can you please not do that? Can you please keep your stuff on your table?
Yeah.
Like, that's all it would have taken. If they were assholes about it, then he could have just asked somebody in the wait staff to be like, hey, can you tell them to not do that anymore, please? Like, it's rude.
Yeah, and, like, in that conversation, man, it's like, he, like, blatantly ignores some of the things Stiller is saying, and then he's, like, subtly insulting him just with his words and shit. I don't know.
No, it was very, it's very, because he's such a vapid personality. He's such a narcissist that he doesn't want to accept that he is no longer successful and that he can't support that.
Bitter about that.
Yeah, he's bitter about the not being able to actually afford the New York residence, because for the longest time he positioned himself in his mind as this hot shit artist and this hot shit college professor, and he's none of those things anymore. Like he knows his legacy is kind of fading into obscurity, and he's very bitter about it. Especially like after the thing with LJ, where LJ is like, they're the same age, but he's extremely successful in his art, and Howard can't handle that, because he feels like it should be him. Instead of being happy for his friend and actually enjoying that moment with his friend, he's such a curmudgeon asshole. Yeah. He gets jealous, and he fucking literally runs out the door because he's so jealous and ashamed that it's not him.
Mm-hmm. And it's funny how, like, Stiller, before he went back to New York, he was like, I don't let my dad get to me anymore or whatever and shit, and ultimately he ends up getting real frustrated with his dad.
Well, and it's like you almost can't blame them though, because Harold pulls it out of him. Like, he knows their buttons, and he just constantly pushes and pushes them. That's why one of my favorite scenes in the movie is when Ben Stiller finally he can't take it anymore. Right. And he's like, I beat you. Like, that's why you're upset. Yeah. I beat you. Right. I'm more successful than you ever were. I beat you. That part had me rolling, man. That was.
And then he thinks the dude stole his jacket or whatever.
Yeah, well,
Stiller runs after him.
He's literally like he did it. It's like he kind of did that on purpose. He was being petty because he was upset, and that was like his petty revenge. You want another one?
I still have a beer right here.
You can have another one.
Whatever's Kalova. And then you have those like scenes that just cut out of nowhere. Did you notice that?
Yeah,
it's weird.
It's the editing is a little choppy in this movie.
Well, I'm sure they did that on purpose, but I don't know why. It's like Sandler would just be screaming and then it just cuts like mid-sentence or something like that. Thought that's interesting. Yeah, his condition gets worse. Jean, that was her name, or the sister.
Yeah,
you find out that Jean, her dad's friend or whatever, masturbated in front of her or something at the beach.
It was so it was at the beach house, and she was taking a shower, and he came into the shower area.
And just started masturbating. That was funny. Like she saw him and
she just ran away. Yeah. And honestly, though, it was something
I've never seen Jean run. That's how she runs.
And it's just that thing because her dad's fucking just. He's honestly a terrible person. Instead of
he didn't like confront him or nothing.
No,
he just kind of no harm, no foul or whatever.
Well, he's like, if he does it again, I'm gonna punch him in the nose. Like, but it's like one of those things where Harold says that kind of stuff to. It goes back to him being a narcissist, where he has to have that bravado in front of his kids, but he never actually. If you notice, he never actually confronts anybody in the movie. Everything he says and does
behind the back
is either behind the back or he says it in a very passive aggressive manner. Like everything is like it's so toxic because he just says things right off the cusp instead of saying what he actually means. He never like really actually addresses people, and he just honestly with Danny, he just kind of uses him. Like, he only wants to spend time with Danny when it's convenient for him. And then as soon as he doesn't want him to be around, he's like, yeah, you can just fuck off. I don't really care about you. Like, yeah, it's very, it put a bad taste in my mouth. I was like, God, Dustin Hoffman, you are a son of a bitch in this movie.
They end up fucking up that old dude's car and shit.
That cracked me up so much. But that was like, see, that was those little moments where like they'd been estranged for so long, and it's like, that's kind of the part that I really like felt, because I left my parents' house when I was 17, and so I didn't really have a relationship with my little brother or sister because I was, I moved 3 hours away from Chicago. I was basically spent most of my adult life here, going to college, like doing my own thing, and so I kind of did what Danny did. I like left, and I kind of became estranged from my siblings for a while, and it's like I really felt that. Like I felt a lot of that kind of stuff. It was like reminded me of my own life, where you finally have those moments where you break ground with your siblings, where I don't know if you probably didn't have that. Like I think you were probably pretty close with your brothers most of your life, right? Like,
yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
So with me being older in a way, like I related that to a lot. Like having that one moment where you really like get to bond with people that you haven't been around in a really long time, and I was just like, yeah, that's real family shit. Like you haven't seen somebody and you just have an experience like that where you go, fucking bust a car window out of some asshole that fucked your sister over. Like,
yeah, it is nice how they, get back together and they're like, yeah, I missed you and shit,
Yeah, they have those moments in spite of Harold. Yeah, in spite of him kind of trying to turn them against each other, so they're on his side. It was kind of nice for them to have those bonding moments.
Oh yeah, that ends up selling the house and all the art. Yeah, that's pretty much it, I guess, on this movie. Oh, and the part towards the end where the art piece was called Matthew, but then you find out that it should have been called Danny or whatever.
Yeah.
Because it's like his dad got the name wrong.
Well, he had forgot that it was actually Danny. Who was actually the one with him. Yeah.
To make that piece or whatever.
Yo.
That was kind of sad.
Yeah.
Damn, bro.
Yeah, that one kind of hit me. I was just
but
like,
it does make you... It does feel good for Danny, I guess.
Well, actually, I think it's the opposite. I think it makes him feel worse because he finds out he had this moment with his dad, and his dad doesn't even care enough about him to remember to relish that moment.
Right.
Instead, he warps the memory so it suits a narrative that he has with his younger brother Danny.
Yeah. Well, to quote Home Alone, how you feel about your family is a complicated thing.
Yeah, I think that should have been the tagline for this movie, honestly. I think it would have fit really well.
So what do you say? What are you ranking this movie?
I mean, the acting was good. I
thought the acting was really good too.
I enjoyed the movie. I would give it a solid 6. I think that's
about where I'm at too.
Yeah.
6.5 maybe.
Yeah, because I enjoyed it, but I don't think it's a movie I would really watch a bunch of times. But I wasn't sad that I watched it. I enjoyed it.
Like I said, I'm not sure why I picked it. I knew I liked it, but it's just it was like a last minute choice.
Yeah, no, that's okay.
This time I have one locked and loaded.
Hell yeah.
Well, yeah. All right, let's jump over to the other movie.
Seven Psychopaths.
Seven Psychopaths.
I fucking love this movie, dude.
2012 comedy crime movie.
Dude, the character acting in this movie is so fucking good, man. Like all the main cast: Sam Rockwell, Woody Harrelson, Colin Farrell, and Christopher Walken. They all they're just so good, all of them. They have some really memorable scenes and lines.
Mm-hmm.
But I really I've always felt like Sam Rockwell has always been an underrated actor, and I think this movie was a movie that he really gets to shine and show his shit.
Yeah, he's fucking nuts in this movie.
He's so great.
Hilarious.
Well, and it's he is kind of he's the epitome of a sociopath. That's the kind of psychopath he is, because he knows things are wrong, but he doesn't feel bad about doing things he knows are wrong. You know what I mean? He has he's kind of devoid of a moral compass, and so he doesn't really have feelings, which is kind of ironic though, because it actually kind of turns out that despite all the messed up stuff he does, he's actually kind of a pretty good friend to Hans and to what's Farrell's character's name in this movie? Marty. So he's a really good friend to Hans and Marty, even though he's a fucking psychopath.
Right.
Because he gives Marty a place to crash when his girlfriend kicks him out. He literally invents a fucking character to inspire Marty's screenplay.
Right.
I mean, it's a really fucking psycho thing to do, but he kind of despite being a sociopath, he kind of has good intentions for his friends. He just goes about it in a really fucked up way.
Yeah, so it's director Martin McDonagh who did Banshees of Inisherin.
Yep, and also in Bruges, Bruges.
And he also wrote the screenplay. It's a 83% tomato meter. Pretty good. 71 audience. Not too shabby. The tagline is, "They won't take any Shih Tzu." I like that.
Yeah, that's not bad,
I like that tagline. But yeah, Michael Stolberg. Oh. But yeah, it's kind of a meta type of movie because it's a guy writing a script and shit. And
Yeah, well, I mean,
about Seven Psychopaths.
This is definitely a movie you have to watch more than once because there's so much stuff you'll catch.
This is my first watch, so people know.
I don't know if you noticed, but when they're in the car driving to the desert, for the rest of the movie, every time they're having a conversation, they're basically telling the audience how the rest of the movie is going to play out, which is really funny to me. Because, like, they're talking about, like, because, like, when Sam Rockwell's character is asking Colin Farrell's character how the movie's going to end, he's like, yeah, I guess, he's like, I don't want it to be too violent. I want it to, it's just basically end up, it's just a bunch of guys talking in the desert, and that's exactly what happens. Yeah. And then Sam Rockwell's, no, fuck that, there's got to be a big shootout. This movie ends my way. And it kind of does, like.
Sam Rockwell's in that F is for Family. You ever watch that show?
Nah.
It's pretty good. Bill Burr.
Oh, that's right. He plays. I'm sorry. I thought you were talking about the show with Ed O'Neill in it, the Modern Family. But no, yeah, I've seen F is for Family. I fucking love F is for Family.
It's so funny.
Yeah, Sam Rockwell plays the cool disc jockey that lives next door with the huge cock. Yeah. Like, yeah.
Yeah. What's that whole thing where the guy slices his throat? I forget, because I watched this like over a week ago. So,
okay. So
and then he slices his own throat.
So
trying to remember.
Christopher Walken is also the type of psychopath who I would say he's very laissez-faire. I wouldn't say that he is the same type of psychopath that Sam Rockwell is. That's kind of what's interesting, is like each character, like even Marty is kind of, a crazy person in his own way. But with Christopher Walken's character, he is a type of psychopath where like he's the opposite of Sam Rockwell. He's not very reactive, like he's not very emotional,
right? Like
even when his wife gets killed, like, I mean, you can tell he's sad about it, but he's not like really affected about it. And I think that's just kind of how he goes about life, because I think he's just kind of lost. I think part of that is he was the type of person who lived like a very structured, like, he's a person that needed structure to go about life. And then after his daughter died, like that structure was gone. Like his, that he was a family man. He was a Quaker. I think it really made him question his faith in God. And when this person that killed his daughter finally found faith, and he basically, because of what he did to his daughter, he didn't want that person to ever find redemption. And so with his last bit of faith, that is what the slicing of his throat was about. So he basically stalked this guy until he couldn't live with the guilt of what he had done to Christopher Walken's daughter. So, I mean, and that, that kind of focus, that
was wild.
Yeah, that's a special kind of crazy, like people that are that patient. And so that was the what the slitting of his throat was, is like, because the guy's like, I might go to hell, but at least I'll have a reprieve from you.
Yeah.
And so Christopher Walken slitting his own throat. He's like, no, I'll see you there. Like, he's like, you'll have to deal with this for an eternity. Like, yeah, it is a crazy thing to do, but that's kind of what I love. It's kind of a
psychopathic.
It is, but at the same time, when he has that conversation with Marty, in the car, where Marty's like, he's like, well, why did you do that? He's like, that's so over the top. That's crazy. He's like, well, I thought it was what needed to be done at the time. I don't know. Like, he's like, so kind of like, it's like what I was trying to say about Christopher, what makes him so crazy, is the fact of like the things he's willing to do, like the extremes he's willing to go to, and it's like not a big deal to him. You know what I mean? Like like when he decides to save Sam Rockwell and Marty from the rest of the gang members, the Italian mob guys, by pretending to have a gun in his jacket. Like it's like most people wouldn't just just jump right to that. Like I don't know. It's very kind of like weird, interesting character. I don't know. I love the characters in this movie, man. Like it's just such a different movie.
I thought the scene was funny with the Vietnamese guy where he's all talking and then the topless girl walks out.
Dude, I laugh.
She's like, "What are you talking Chinese?" He said, "Vietnamese." She's like, "Oh, didn't we have a war with you or something?" That's just,
yeah, dude. And it's supposed to be funny, like, because like
laughing.
Yeah, well, and it's like like a lot of people are really kind of fucking ignorant like that too, though.
Yeah.
But I kind of like that kind of beautiful moment at the end of the movie where Christopher Walken is explaining how Marty should end his movie with, instead of like all the violence or all the like stuff that happened in the desert, where it should turn the crazy Vietnamese killer, and instead it's a Buddhist monk like literally letting go of all his hatred because he's protesting something he's just by nature completely against, and he like wants this slaughter and war to end in Vietnam. So he's the first monk to set him on fire, which was a real event. Like they really did that in Vietnam in 1963, which I thought was like a really cool, not only like a way to like, hey, maybe there is a better way, but also it was a cool nod to like actual history.
I wrote down one of the quotes from Rockwell. He's
got some great ones, man.
Yeah, he said, "Of course you like drinking. For 1 year, a writer from Ireland, you're fucked from birth. It's part of your heritage."
Yep, he's like, "You're fucked." Yep.
He's like, "The Spanish got bullfighting, the French have cheese, and the Irish have alcoholism."
Yeah. And he delivers those lines just off the cuff. I also love the scene where Marty is reading Sam Rockwell's diary, and he's talking about the flag, and he's just like, "They have the right to wave their flag. Note to self, do not burn down their flag." And Marty looks up, and you can see like the singe marks on the flag where he set it on fire. There's honestly so much subtle stuff like that in this movie that's like really tongue in cheek that I think make it great. But I think it's balanced pretty well with like a lot of serious stuff.
Yeah. So he's trying to write this script, and he puts an ad out in the paper for Psychopaths.
That's a great thing too.
That was interesting.
And then the whole other part of the story where Woody Harrelson is literally just trying to find his dog because he's a gangster, and he's
right. And they have this whole operation where they steal dogs and hold them ransom or whatever.
Oh, well, they return them for...
oh, that's right.
Yeah, so they're dog nappers, but then they pretend like they just, they're like, "Hey, I just found your dog, and I saw an ad in the paper." So like they have this like really reward. Like little scene going. Yeah, so they get rewards for returning dogs that they actually kidnap. It's pretty funny.
But then they stole the wrong dog.
Yeah,
Shih Tzu.
Yup. Well, that's kind of the funny thing about Woody Harrelson's character is he's the kind of psychopath where he's kind of devoid of love. He just kind of views everything as his possessions. And I think that's why he's so obsessed about the dog, is because it's his favorite possession. Like, and that's why, like, you see all that extremism from him. Like, oh, man, yeah. And I really like the way all the characters play off one another in this movie. But my favorite scene is towards the end, and it makes me laugh every time. Is when the gangster is holding the shotgun to Christopher Walken, and he's like, "Stop right there," and he goes, "No."
Oh yeah.
He's like,
I've seen that clip before.
He's like, but I have a gun. So? I don't care. He's like, and you look at the guy, he's like, he has no idea what to do. He's like,
what?
Yeah. It's so great.
Yeah, that's funny. Oh, I knew. It's all Tom Waits in there. No.
Yep, he's the old serial killer who had the black girlfriend where they went around murdering.
Oh, that's right.
They went around murdering other serial killers. Yeah.
He was in that Buster Scruggs movie. That shit's pretty good. Oh yeah, the scene where Woody Harrelson's in there with Walken's wife, that was an intense fucking scene.
Yeah, that's kind of like the
You were hoping like he would bust in and shoot him first or whatever, but
yeah, well,
and
there's some like really there's some really raw scenes in it too, like that let you know like that it's not this isn't like a happy-go-lucky like action movie where the heroes just win. It's like really the only one who gets away unscathed is Marty, but everything he's been through, like he lost his best friend, he lost like a associate he just met, like his girlfriend is gone because of his crippling alcoholism, like
mm-hmm.
And that's kind of like did you watch the after credit scene with Tom Waits?
I'm not sure what happens.
So what happens is if you turn off the movie directly when the credits roll, there's actually a real...
I don't usually do that. I usually let the credits roll, so I probably did see it.
So Tom Waits actually calls him, and he's like, "Hey, you didn't put the phone number in the movie to let Bonnie know to call me." Yeah,
I did see that.
Yeah, I really like that scene too because...
he's like, fuck. I forgot.
Yeah, he's like, fuck. But he's like, I'm going to come to kill you on Tuesday. Is that good for you? He's like, yeah, Tuesday. I got nothing going on. He's like, you sound like you've really been through the ringer, man. He's like, you could say that. And he's like, you know what? Tuesday isn't good for me. He's like, I'll be in touch. Okay.
Yeah, that is great.
It's a little like a nice little touch where it's just like, and it's not. I don't think it's because Tom Waits' character doesn't want to kill Marty. I think it's more of like it would defeat the purpose of it because he's like in such a place where he's just like, yeah, okay, come kill me. I don't even fucking care. Like it just kind of defeats the fun and purpose of taking that revenge on him.
Here's a little off thing I wrote down. Do you find that Sam Rockwell kind of looks like Dana Carvey in some scenes? He just kind of resembles him.
I think he actually resembles Dax Shepard more.
Really?
Yeah.
Maybe.
I think they yeah, let's do a sidebar. You pull up I'm gonna pull up Dax Shepard. You pull up a picture of Sam Rockwell. Just do a face shot.
Images.
Let me get this going.
Yeah,
that was news. I want images. Come on.
What else was he in? I wonder. The Green Mile.
Oh yeah. Yeah, he plays the psycho killer in Green Mile that killed the two little girls. He's been in some really good movies, but pull up that headshot. That one. Specifically that one. See, I think these two guys kind of look alike.
Yeah, I could see it. I think.
Yeah, I think they do. What do you guys think? Let us know. You think Sam Rockwell and Dax Shepard look alike? Because I definitely think they do.
Or Dana Carvey.
I mean, now that you say it, I do see the Dana Carvey a little bit. But I think I don't know. I think those guys look alike, like especially in those pictures.
Yeah.
They look like they could be brothers for sure.
Mm-hmm. What else I got? Oh, I wrote down this might be a bit of a weird take, but do you think Sam Rockwell might be a little gay for Colin Farrell?
Maybe.
Because it kind of seems like that. Like he really wants to be part of everything he's doing. He wants to be part of the movie. I don't know. I got a little vibe.
I mean, I'm not against it if that's the case. I honestly think it just goes back to I'm saying is sometimes your craziest friend can be your best friend who only like wants to do stuff with you. You know what I mean? Like you ever had that like one over the top friend where like they can just be a bit too much
clingy?
Yeah, and I really just think Sam Rockwell's more like that, where he's kind of like clinging and just wants to kind of do everything just with Marty. Just wants to be a part of it, and like he doesn't think that Marty's girlfriend is Kaya is good for him, which is why he's always saying she's a fucking cunt. I love when he reads his diary. He's like, you should support Marty more in his relationship with Kaya, because she might possibly not be a cunt.
The big final shootout.
Yeah, but Sam Rockwell is definitely. It's funny because like it's like Hans, like he only does things like, and he kind of does things in a meticulous fashion, whereas Sam Rockwell's character is super impulsive. He's like zero impulse control.
Is this another quote? I know you said dreams are for fags, but they're for everyone, not just fags.
He's like, also,
and I don't think they like being called fags.
I think it's they prefer homos. Like, yeah, that's Christopher Walken.
That's a quote.
Yeah, Christopher Walken is he's fucking great in this movie, man.
Yeah.
I like when he just straight up takes peyote and walks in the woods, and he's like, I don't believe in God anymore. And then Marty tries to be a good friend because he knows like how important religion is to Hans. So he's like, no, Hans, or not Marty, Sam Rockwell's character. He tries to be a good friend and be like, no, I was messing with you when you were high. It was my voice you were hearing. Like, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It's like, despite being this crazy fucking person that murders somebody, he kind of almost always has his friends back. Like, and it's like, and when Marty, he puts Marty into that dangerous situation with the gangster, he basically figures a way out for him so he can go away without getting hurt, even though like Sam Rockwell fully like he like kind of, it's weird because he's like he really kind of wants to die in like this spectacular fashion. Right. Like, and some people are just crazy like that, man. They just like they want to go out guns blazing.
Yeah. But yeah, there's just so much going on in this movie.
Yeah,
it definitely really deserves another watch.
Yeah, and I mean, I tell you what, man, your second or third watch, it will be like the best one. Like, I mean, I love this movie every time I watch it. It's honestly one of my favorite Christopher Walken, Sam Rockwell movies. Like, I mean, it's a movie I always go back to eventually. I probably watch it like once a year. It's kind of like Forgetting Sarah Marshall. I just really enjoy it. It's always fun. It has its intense moments, but I feel like it's paced really well. So like I don't ever feel like it drags out any part. It like it has a really good flow to it. I think that's what I really like about this director is his movies tend to not have like patches of there's nothing that ever feels like it drags on. Like it very like each scene is like intentional and it has a point to it.
You haven't seen Banshees yet, have you?
I need to watch it. That's the one I haven't seen that he's done.
It's on HBO. It's pretty good. I really liked it. But yeah, I wrote down that it's not exactly my favorite type of movie, but it's very close, you know?
Yeah.
And it's hard to pinpoint like what it is about it. I think it's like kind of actiony. Maybe that's part that. But I really liked it.
Yeah, what's funny though is like the only part that has a lot of action in it is the the scene where he's talking about how he thinks the movie should end. Like that's the only like part that is like that. It's funny because it's the only like real action sequences that happen are when something is either being retold or it's like an idea is being presented. Like so with Sam Rockwell, that crazy action scene is all him talking about his vision, how the movie should end, and then Christopher Walken is just being nice. He's like, "Oh, I guess that's a pretty okay ending." Like, but he really, like, then him and Marty are talking. He's like, "That's a terrible ending to a movie. It can't happen like that."
Yeah, I think this was a pretty great pick. I'm glad you picked it. There's a lot of stuff about the afterlife and stuff in there, but I would have to rewatch it to dig deeper on that, all that. But
it requires it's definitely worth the second watch. It requires a lot of watch. That's kind of what I find charming about it is I think it poses a lot of questions, but it doesn't try to give like false answers or like, you know, hit you over the head with like, you know, it has to be this way. It's just more like a thing of like, well, what is it exactly is like, or what makes somebody a psychopath? You know what I mean?
Sure, yeah. What do you say? Should we rate it?
Yeah, let's do it, man.
I'm at about a 7.5-ish.
Hey, man,
for a first time watch.
Yeah, that's pretty close to my score. I mean, I give this movie a solid 8, man.
Hell
like,
yeah.
I really love this movie. It's one of my favorite movies. I really enjoy it. I'm glad you liked it, man. I'm glad I picked one you liked this time.
I'm really liking Colin Farrell a lot more these days. I mean, I've always liked him, but
you know, he is kind of like Michael Keaton, where I think he kind of peaked early in his career, and then he had to go through like...
Yeah, remember Phone Booth? The whole movie was just in a phone booth.
And it was still like entertaining, you know? Like it was kind of surprising. But I think he's somebody that he kind of peaked early. And then he kind of his career went through a rough spot. And then when he came back, he started doing like all these great movies like Seven Psychopaths and Bruges. Like he became a lot more picky with his choices. And
have you ever heard of Killing of a Sacred Deer?
No.
I might have to choose that. It's a very strange movie.
Okay. I mean, I know he's in that movie called, I think it's called The Lobster or something like that.
Yeah,
I haven't seen that. I know it's supposed to be real weird. Yeah.
A few weeks ago. But yeah, let's move on. Let's do some picks. Picks for next time.
I know I was talking about picking that one movie we were talking about, but actually, I want to pick a movie this time around that I'm pretty sure neither one of us has seen.
Oh, cool.
So, it's been a movie I've wanted to watch because I've only heard really good things about it. It's called Everything Everywhere All at Once.
I've seen it. I love it.
Oh, okay. Cool. Well, then, good. Yeah.
I've seen it once, though, and that's definitely one that deserves more watches.
It's been on my list for a long time. It's kind of like Uncut Gems. But
it was just back in theaters, too, man. I was going to go, but then didn't.
Yeah, but that's my pick, man.
Hell yeah, bro! That movie rocks.
I really want to watch it, and I'm glad I finally picked it because it's been on my list for a long time. And
I think we'll have to rent that one probably.
That's fine.
Mine is a classic pick. It's a war movie. It's Stanley Kubrick. I don't think we've done a Kubrick yet.
Oh, shit, okay.
Full Metal Jacket, boy. Let's do this.
Man. I got... it has one of the best opening scenes to a movie ever. Dude, I can't think of the guy's name. We'll talk more about it. I won't say too much.
Right, yeah.
But, man, the improv from the guy that plays the
drill sergeant. Yeah.
His first name is Ernie. Dude, his improv is fucking insane.
I know. They just let him go, bro.
Well, it's the only person, I think, that Kubrick because Kubrick is not an improv guy. Like he
Everything is.
it's
He wants it
planned.
as written.
Yeah, but I mean there are spontaneous things that he's kept in his movies. But for the most part, it's very meticulous, very planned. But with Ernie, because Ernie was an actual fucking drill sergeant for so long, it just made sense to just
Came
let him
so
go.
natural to him.
Because
Yeah.
Ernie basically went to Kubrick and told him his dialogue was shit. Like, but that's I'm not gonna say anymore.
All right. Well, the
I don't-
camera just went out.
That was a good time to end. Then
There you have it, folks.
thanks for tuning in.
Tuning in.
Try and start pumping them out more frequently this coming weeks.
Everything Everywhere All at Once and Full Metal Jacket next time on Kevin and Drew Talk Movies. And we'll see you then.
Peace out, guys.
Peace. The Spanish got bullfighting, the French have cheese, and the Irish have alcoholism.
Yeah.